is a quiet power in solitude. A woman who learns to enjoy her own company, who embraces the stillness within, becomes a force that no one can easily shake. She is dangerous, not in the way the world may fear, but in the way her presence commands respect. She doesn't need approval because she has already given it to herself. She doesn't need others to define her worth because she has already discovered it deep within. Let's explore why a woman who cherishes time alone transforms herself into someone extraordinary and unstoppable. When a woman spends time alone, she begins a journey of self-discovery that many rarely take. In the silence of her own company, she learns to tune out the noise of the world and listen to the voice within. This voice is soft at first, perhaps drowned out by past fears, doubts, or societal expectations. But the more she sits with herself, the clearer and more confident it becomes. This is the foundation of self-awareness, a deep understanding of who she is, what she desires, and what she values. When a woman takes the time to step away from the constant demands of relationships, work, or social obligations, she creates space to ask herself the hard questions. What do I truly want? What makes me feel alive? What is draining me? These aren't easy questions to answer, but the act of asking them opens a door to clarity. She starts to uncover truths about herself that may have been buried under years of trying to meet others' expectations. This self-exploration is both liberating and empowering. She realizes she doesn't have to live by anyone else's standards. She can create her own. Through solitude, she also begins to notice her patterns, how she reacts in certain situations, the types of people she attracts, and the habits that no longer serve her. Instead of blaming others for her circumstances, she takes responsibility for her life. This isn't about self-criticism, but rather self-empowerment. She learns to see herself with honesty and compassion, understanding that her past choices don't define her future. This is how she feels truly at peace. And at this point, each moment of self-reflection brings her closer to the core of who she truly is, untainted by external influences. Spending time alone also allows her to reconnect with her emotions. In a world that often tells women to suppress their feelings or prioritize others, solitude becomes a safe space to feel deeply. She learns to sit with her emotions, whether they are joy, sadness, anger, or fear. Instead of avoiding them, she embraces them as valuable messengers. Her self-awareness grows as she understands what triggers her, what lights her up, and what her heart truly craves. This emotional intelligence becomes one of her greatest strengths, allowing her to navigate life with grace and authenticity. As she deepens her self-awareness, she starts to understand her boundaries, what she will and won't tolerate. A woman who spends time alone learns to value her energy and protect it fiercely. She recognizes that saying no to what doesn't serve her is an act of self-love, not selfishness. She stops seeking approval from others because she has already given it to herself. This confidence in her own worth is magnetic, and it changes the way she interacts with the world. She no longer feels the need to prove herself because she knows she is enough just as she is. Through this process, she also discovers her strengths and talents. Solitude gives her the time and freedom to explore her passions and interests without judgment. She may pick up a new hobby, learn a new skill, or dive into creative projects that bring her joy. This isn't just about productivity, it's about self-expression. She realizes that her worth isn't tied to what she does for others, but to the fulfillment she finds in being herself. The more she invests in her own growth, the more she blossoms into the woman she was always meant to be. Perhaps most importantly, spending time alone teaches her to trust herself. In solitude, she learns to make decisions based on her own intuition rather than external opinions. She becomes her own guide, her own best friend, and her own source of wisdom. This trust in herself is unshakable, and it allows her to face life's challenges with resilience and confidence. Happy moments. The journey of becoming self-aware isn't always easy. It requires her to face uncomfortable truths and let go of old beliefs that no longer serve her. But the reward is worth it. A profound sense of freedom and empowerment. She no longer lives her life on autopilot, reacting to the world around her. Instead, she takes the reins and becomes the creator. A woman who has spent time alone and cultivated self-awareness is a woman who knows herself deeply. She is grounded, confident, and unapologetically authentic. She doesn't fear being alone because she has discovered that her greatest ally is herself. And when she steps back into the world, she does so with clarity, purpose, and a quiet strength that is impossible to ignore. Now she considers her life. Where would she not be? When a woman spends time alone, she begins to experience something rare and precious: inner peace. In a world that constantly demands her attention, where she is often pulled in countless directions, solitude becomes her refuge. It is in these quiet moments that she allows herself to breathe, to step away from the noise, and to reconnect with the stillness within. In her time alone, she creates a space where there are no demands, no expectations, and no need to perform. She can simply be. This is a gift that many overlook, but for her it becomes the foundation of a peaceful mind and heart. The more she embraces her solitude, the more she realizes that peace isn't something external. It's something she cultivates from within. One of the first things she notices is how much of her previous stress was caused by the outside world. The constant buzz of social media, the pressures of work, the needs of friends and family, these can all create a sense of overwhelm. But when she steps away from it all, she finds clarity. In the silence, she can hear her own thoughts, and she begins to understand what truly matters to her. The chaos of the world fades away, and she discovers a profound sense of calm. In her solitude, she learns to release what she cannot control. She no longer feels the need to fix everything or everyone around her. Instead, she focuses on her own energy, her own well-being. This shift in perspective is transformative. She realizes that peace isn't about having a perfect life. It's about finding contentment within herself, regardless of what's happening around her. This journey toward inner peace often leads her to confront her own mind. In the stillness, unresolved emotions and thoughts may rise to the surface. At first, this can be uncomfortable, but she learns to face these feelings with compassion. She understands that ignoring or suppressing her emotions only creates more tension. Instead, she allows herself to feel fully and process her experiences. By doing so, she releases the weight she's been carrying, and her heart becomes lighter. Spending time alone also teaches her the value of mindfulness. She begins to appreciate the present moment in ways she never did before, whether it's the sound of the wind, the warmth of the sun on her skin, or the rhythm of her own breath. She becomes attuned to the beauty of life's simplest pleasures. This mindfulness becomes a daily practice, grounding her in the here and now. The worries of the past and the anxieties of the future lose their grip on her, and she finds peace in simply being. As she continues to nurture her inner peace, she notices how it affects her relationships. She no longer reacts impulsively or allows others to disrupt her sense of calm. Instead, she approaches challenges with patience and understanding. Her peace becomes a shield, protecting her from negativity and drama. She responds rather than reacts, and this change in energy transforms the way others perceive her. Her inner peace also gives her the strength to set boundaries. She recognizes that her time and energy are sacred, and she protects them fiercely. This doesn't come from a place of selfishness, but from a deep understanding that she cannot pour from an empty cup. By prioritizing her own well-being, She ensures that she can show up as her best self for others. Over time, her inner peace becomes her greatest source of power. It allows her to navigate life's challenges with grace and resilience. She no longer feels the need to prove herself or seek approval from others because she has found validation within. Her peace is unshakable because it comes from a place of self-love and acceptance. The more satisfaction child you are, the more ready. She begins to inspire those around her without even trying. People are drawn to her energy, her calm demeanor, and her ability to remain grounded in the face of adversity. They may not understand how she does it, but they feel the strength of her presence. Her peace becomes a gift, not just to herself, but to everyone she encounters. In solitude, she has discovered a truth that changes everything. Peace isn't something she has to chase. It's something she creates. By spending time alone, by embracing the quiet, and by reconnecting with her own spirit, she has found a wellspring of calm that will carry her through anything life throws her way. Her peace is her power, and it is hers to keep. When a woman learns to embrace her independence, she unlocks a level of strength and self-assurance that transforms every aspect of her life. Spending time alone allows her to build a foundation where she is no longer reliant on others for her happiness, validation, or sense of worth. Instead, she becomes her own anchor, her own guiding force, and her own source of fulfillment. She is to call on her own source of fulfillment. At first, the idea of being independent may feel daunting, especially in a world that often equates independence with loneliness. But as she begins to spend more time with herself, she realizes that independence doesn't mean isolation. It means freedom. It's the freedom to make her own choices, to live life on her terms, and to build a life that aligns with her values and dreams. This realization brings with it a profound sense of empowerment. As she becomes more comfortable being independent, she discovers her ability to stand on her own 2 feet. Whether it's managing her finances, making decisions about her career, or navigating life's challenges, she proves to herself time and time again that she is capable. Each small victory reinforces her confidence and reminds her that she doesn't need to rely on anyone else to handle her life. This self-sufficiency doesn't mean she rejects help when it's offered. Rather, it means she no longer depends on others to rescue her or solve her problems. Through her independence, she develops a deeper understanding of her own needs and desires. She no longer feels pressure to conform to societal expectations or to fit into roles that don't resonate with her. Instead, she gives herself permission to pursue what truly matters to her without seeking approval from others. This level of self-trust allows her to make decisions with clarity and conviction, knowing that she is following her own path. Her independence also reshapes her relationships. She no longer clings to people out of fear of being alone or seeks their approval to feel validated. Instead, she approaches relationships from a place of abundance, not neediness. She values her connections but recognizes that her happiness and fulfillment don't depend on them. This shift in energy often strengthens her relationships because they are built on mutual respect and appreciation rather than dependency. Being comfortable with her independence also gives her the courage to embrace solitude without fear. She enjoys her own company and sees time alone as an opportunity for growth, reflection, and self-care. Whether she's reading a book, exploring a new hobby, or simply sitting in silence, she finds joy in the moments she spends with herself. This ability to be content on her own is a rare and powerful trait that sets her apart. Her independence becomes a shield against external pressures and negativity. She no longer feels the need to compare herself to others or to meet unrealistic standards set by society. Instead, she focuses on her own journey, knowing that she is enough just as she is. This sense of self-assurance allows her to handle criticism and setbacks with grace, knowing that they don't define her worth or her potential. Over time, her independence becomes a source of inspiration to others. People admire her confidence, her strength, and her ability to navigate life with poise and determination. They see in her a reflection of what is possible when one chooses to prioritize self-love and self-reliance. She doesn't need to prove her worth to anyone because her actions speak louder than words. Her comfort with independence also opens the door to new opportunities. Unbound by the limitations of dependency, she is free to take risks, pursue her passions, and explore the world on her own terms. She becomes a trailblazer, carving out a life that is uniquely hers. This freedom to create and explore allows her to live a life that is rich with meaning and purpose. Most importantly, her independence allows her to build an unshakable relationship with herself. She becomes her own best friend, her own advocate, and her own source of strength. She learns to celebrate her victories, comfort herself during tough times, and trust her own intuition. This deep connection with herself becomes the foundation for everything else in her life. Now, get to within you. And for yourself, a woman who is comfortable being independent is a woman who knows her worth. She doesn't fear standing alone because she understands that she is never truly alone. She has herself. Her independence is not just a practical skill. It is a reflection of her inner strength, her resilience, and her unwavering belief in her own potential. She is a force to be reckoned with, not because she seeks power over others, but because she has claimed power within herself. And that is a power no one can take away. When a woman spends time alone and learns to cultivate her own sense of self, she reaches a powerful realization. She doesn't need anyone else's approval to feel worthy or confident. This independence and self-assuredness make her a force to be reckoned with. To some, this may seem intimidating, not because she is unkind or distant, but because her inner strength challenges the expectations of a world that often demands women seek validation from others. She moves through life with a quiet confidence that comes from knowing who she is. She doesn't conform to societal pressures or allow herself to be molded by the opinions of others. Instead, she charts her own course, unapologetically pursuing her goals, dreams, and desires. This freedom to be herself is rare, and it commands attention. People notice when someone walks into a room with a strong sense of self. Her energy is magnetic not because she seeks to dominate, but because she is completely at peace with who she is. Her lack of need for approval allows her to live authentically. She no longer compromises her values or hides parts of herself to fit in or please others. Instead, she embraces her individuality and stands firm in her beliefs. This authenticity can be unsettling to those who rely on external validation or who expect her to shrink to make them feel more comfortable. But she doesn't shrink, she shines. And in doing so, she reminds others of their own potential for self-acceptance. Because she doesn't seek approval, she doesn't fear rejection. She understands that not everyone will agree with her choices, and that's perfectly fine. She doesn't take criticism personally because she knows her worth isn't determined by what others think of her. This ability to remain unshaken in the face of judgment is one of her greatest strengths. She doesn't hesitate to walk away from situations, relationships, or opportunities that don't serve her, knowing that her happiness and fulfillment come from within. Her independence also makes her immune to manipulation. When others realize they can't control her through praise, criticism, or guilt, they often find her intimidating. She cannot be swayed by flattery or pressured by disapproval. She sees through attempts to undermine her confidence or exploit her vulnerabilities. This clarity and self-protection make her a formidable presence. She doesn't allow anyone to dictate her worth or undermine her boundaries, and that level of self-respect sets a powerful example. Her strength lies in her unwavering sense of self. While others may rely on external validation to feel secure, she has built her foundation on self-love and self-trust. She doesn't need to chase accolades or seek constant reassurance because she already knows she is enough. This inner stability allows her to focus on what truly matters to her, rather than wasting energy on trying to please everyone. She understands that approval is fleeting, but self-respect lasts a lifetime. This lack of need for approval doesn't mean she is arrogant or dismissive of others. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Because she is secure in herself, she is able to uplift and support those around her without feeling threatened. She doesn't compete or compare because she sees the value in everyone, including herself. Her strength inspires others to embrace their own uniqueness and let go of the need for validation. Her independence challenges traditional dynamics in relationships, both personal and professional. She doesn't seek validation from a partner, a boss, or friends. Instead, she approaches relationships as a whole person, bringing her full self to the table. She expects mutual respect and equality, and she doesn't settle for anything less. This can be intimidating to those who are used to controlling or dominating others, but to those who value authenticity, it's incredibly refreshing. Her refusal to seek approval also makes her a bold decision maker. She trusts her intuition and isn't afraid to go against the grain if it feels right. Whether it's pursuing an unconventional career path, speaking out against injustice, or simply living a life that aligns with her values, she is fearless in her choices. This courage to stand alone, if necessary, sets her apart from the crowd. Ultimately, what makes her so intimidating to some is the fact that she has reclaimed her power. She no longer relies on the world to tell her she is enough. She already knows it. This self-assurance is rare and deeply impactful. It's not about arrogance or superiority. It's about living with integrity and authenticity. Her strength challenges others to look inward and examine their own need for approval. She is a reminder that true power comes from within. She doesn't need applause or permission to be herself. She simply is, and that is enough. Her presence encourages others to embrace their own inner strength, but it also unsettles those who are not yet ready to let go of the need for validation. In a world that often tells women to conform, her independence is a revolutionary act, and that is why she is so powerful. When a woman spends time alone, she taps into a reservoir of creativity and vision that often goes unnoticed in the busyness of daily life. Solitude creates a space for her imagination to flourish and for ideas to emerge without external distractions. It allows her to explore her inner world, dream without limits, and see possibilities that others might overlook. She becomes creative not just in an artistic sense, but in the way she approaches life itself. Her ability to think beyond the ordinary and imagine a better future is part of what makes her so powerful. Creativity is born from stillness and reflection. In moments of quiet, she hears the whispers of inspiration that guide her toward new paths. Whether it's through writing, painting, problem-solving, or innovative thinking, she channels her inner wisdom into something tangible. This process isn't forced. It flows naturally from the connection she has cultivated with herself. To endure sorrow, to find an even simpler freedom from tension, disease, and death. She teaches her patients to recognize and name them. By spending time alone, she learns to trust her intuition and follow her instincts, which often lead her to create things that are deeply meaningful and transformative. Her creativity doesn't only manifest in traditional artistic pursuits. It shows up in the way she approaches challenges and opportunities. She sees solutions where others see obstacles. She can turn setbacks into stepping stones, finding innovative ways to overcome difficulties and move forward. This resourcefulness is rooted in her ability to think independently, and trust her own perspective. While others may rely on conventional methods, she is unafraid to step outside the box and try something new. This courage to explore the unknown is what sets her apart. Time spent alone also sharpens her visionary abilities. Without the noise of outside influences, she gains clarity about her goals and dreams. She envisions a future that aligns with her deepest desires and values, and she takes deliberate steps to bring that vision to life. Her time in solitude allows her to map out her journey, identify the steps needed to reach her destination, and visualize the outcome she seeks. This level of intentionality is rare, and it makes her stand out as someone who is not just living, but creating a life of purpose. Her visionary nature isn't limited to her own life. It extends to the way she impacts the world around her. She sees potential in people, places, and situations that others might overlook. She has the ability to inspire those around her by sharing her vision and helping them see what's possible. Her creativity and optimism are contagious, encouraging others to dream bigger and believe in themselves. She becomes a source of motivation, showing others that they too can achieve greatness if they are willing to think differently and take bold steps. Spending time alone also allows her to cultivate a strong sense of self-awareness, which fuels her creativity. She understands her strengths, her passions, and the unique perspective she brings to the table. This self-awareness gives her the confidence to express herself authentically without fear of judgment or rejection. Her creations, whether they are works of art, business ideas, or new ways of thinking, are a reflection of her true self. She is her own thinking. She can act inspired by it. They are born from a place of authenticity, which makes them all the more impactful. Her creative and visionary qualities also make her resilient. She knows that challenges and failures are part of the creative process, and she doesn't shy away from them. Instead, she embraces them as opportunities to learn and grow. When something doesn't work out, she pivots, adapts, and tries again. Her ability to innovate and find new approaches allows her to navigate life's uncertainties with grace and determination. She doesn't view setbacks as the end of the road, but as a chance to take a different path, one that might lead to even greater possibilities. What makes her creativity and vision even more remarkable is that they come from within. She isn't driven by a need for approval or external validation. Her ideas and creations are a reflection of her inner world, shaped by her experiences, values, and dreams. This authenticity gives her work a depth and meaning that resonates with others. She doesn't create to impress, she creates to express, to inspire, and to contribute to the world in a meaningful way. Her ability to dream big and think creatively also makes her a natural leader. She doesn't just follow trends or conform to societal norms. She sets new standards and paves the way for others. Her vision inspires those around her to think beyond their limitations and believe in the power of possibility. She leads not by commanding, but by showing what's possible when one dares to dream and takes action to make those dreams a reality. Ultimately, her creativity and visionary spirit make her a powerful force for change. She isn't content with the status quo. She sees what could be and works tirelessly to bring it to life. Her time alone fuels her imagination and gives her the clarity and strength to turn her ideas into reality. She understands that her ability to create and envision is not just a gift, but a responsibility, a way to leave the world better than she found it. And in doing so, she proves that solitude is not a limitation, but a gateway to boundless potential. A woman who commands respect without demanding it possesses a rare and powerful presence. Her strength lies not in words or forceful actions, but in the way she carries herself, in the quiet confidence she exudes, and in the integrity of her actions. She doesn't need to shout, assert dominance, or seek validation to earn respect. Her character naturally draws it to her. This type of respect is deep and enduring because it is based on authenticity, not intimidation. One of the reasons she commands respect is her unwavering sense of self-worth. She knows who she is, what she stands for, and what she deserves. This self-awareness allows her to set boundaries clearly and unapologetically. She doesn't allow others to overstep her limits or take her for granted. However, she enforces these boundaries with grace rather than aggression. Her calm yet firm demeanor sends a clear message. She respects herself, and in turn, others must respect her as well. She leads by example, showing respect to others while maintaining her own standards. Her actions speak louder than any words could. She listens attentively, treats people with kindness, and values their perspectives, but she never compromises her own principles to please anyone. This balance of humility and self-assurance earns her admiration. People recognize that she is both strong and compassionate, a combination that inspires trust and reverence. Her ability to remain composed under pressure is another reason she commands respect. When faced with challenges, she doesn't lose her temper or allow her emotions to control her actions. Instead, she responds thoughtfully and with intention. This emotional intelligence sets her apart and earns her the respect of those around her. People look to her as a source of stability and wisdom, knowing that she won't react impulsively, but will instead handle situations with care and thoughtfulness. Her respect for herself and others also makes her a woman of integrity. She keeps her promises, takes responsibility for her actions, and values honesty in her dealings. She doesn't engage in gossip or tear others down to elevate herself. Instead, she focuses on uplifting those around her while staying true to her values. This consistency between her words and actions builds trust, and trust is the foundation of respect. People know they can rely on her because she stands by her commitments and remains authentic in every situation. Another key to her ability to command respect is her quiet confidence. She doesn't feel the need to prove herself to anyone because she is secure in who she is. This self-assurance allows her to move through the world with a sense of ease and certainty. She doesn't seek attention or approval, but her confidence naturally draws people to her. It's the kind of confidence that doesn't boast or overpower. It simply exists, steady and unshakable. This quiet strength inspires admiration and, in many cases, a sense of awe. She is also deeply grounded in her values, which gives her a sense of purpose and direction. She knows what she stands for and isn't easily swayed by external opinions or societal pressures. This steadfastness makes her a leader in her own right, even if she doesn't hold a formal position of authority. People respect her because they see that she's guided by principles rather than seeking personal gain or approval. She doesn't compromise her integrity for temporary advantages, and this unwavering commitment to her values earns her respect from those who recognize her authenticity. Her ability to command respect without demanding it also stems from her refusal to engage in power struggles. She doesn't waste energy trying to control or dominate others. Instead, she focuses on her own growth and contributions. She understands that true power comes from within, not from external validation or authority. This inner strength allows her to remain calm and composed, even in the face of criticism or opposition. People respect her for her ability to stay true to herself, regardless of the circumstances. Her presence alone is enough to shift the energy in a room. She doesn't need to assert herself loudly or demand attention. Her demeanor speaks volumes. Her posture, her eye contact, her tone of voice, all of these subtle yet powerful signals communicate that she is someone who values herself and expects to be valued by others. People feel this energy and instinctively respond with respect. Ultimately, a woman who commands respect without demanding it does so because she respects herself first. She embodies the qualities she wants to see in the world: kindness, integrity, strength, and authenticity. She doesn't force respect from others because she knows that true respect cannot be coerced. It must be earned. And she earns it effortlessly, simply by being herself and living in alignment with her values. Her presence inspires others to rise to her level, not out of fear, but out of admiration. And that is a power far greater than any demand could ever achieve. Ladies, if you are someone who enjoys spending time alone, never let anyone make you feel ashamed of it. Your solitude is your strength, your power, and your sanctuary. Use that time to connect with your soul, nurture your dreams, and build your confidence. Say to yourself, I honor my time alone. I am my own source of strength, peace, and inspiration. I am powerful beyond measure because I have found myself within. Remember, a woman who knows herself is unstoppable, and a woman who loves herself is truly dangerous in the best way possible.